It's really where we talk about things that we're just trying to figure out. Test, test, test in the room. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. What's up, guys? It's your girl, Kamaray, and I'm back with another episode of hashtag JTFIO, or Just Trying to Figure It Out. This is season 3, episode 2. We're going to call it season 3 because each season has been a season, and I have to get used to acknowledging that it was what it was, and it needed to be what it's been. But now is the time for clarity, and so we are moving on in, and we're calling this season 3. If you are new here, please make sure you subscribe to my channel and you subscribe to the podcast on your favorite podcast app, and you follow the TikTok and you follow me on Instagram, where we have lots of conversations throughout the week on what we're just trying to figure out. Okay. So Lacey, how am I doing from this week? So this week was cool. It was a cool little week. There are a couple of things obviously in the blogs and in the news that I want to discuss that we're obviously going to just try to figure out, right? I still feel like residuals of the sickness that I had, honey. It's still murking and lurking up in there. So, I might sound a little gritty, but other than that, I'm thankful to be alive. I'm grateful to just be, living through every day, learning the lessons that I learn, touching the lives that I get to touch, letting those around me, feed into me. And I'm just practicing grace. I mean, so many things have happened this week, and we're going to get into the things, okay? So, I haven't figured out what the title of this episode is yet. I'll probably figure it out by the end of shooting. But, okay, guys. So, let's talk about some of the things that was in the news, right? Sherri Shepherd, I did not type this on here, but I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up in here because I don't want to forget that either. Okay, if I could kind of theme this out, right? We are in the process. Christian Smith has taught me the perfect word for what I've been doing with a lot of things that I've just learned in life and things that I've experienced, and realized, hey, maybe it's not quite like this. And maybe there's a little bit more nuance. Y'all know that's my favorite word, nuance, or more details or more context or more things missing that contribute to how something was. So maybe I should give more grace and kind of rebuild how I think about things, right? So Christian Smith talks about deconstructing Christianity, which is that he's on a mission to help us understand the education behind that. And, I'm grateful for that. I'm also deconstructing, I guess, just how I look at, women and our place just in the world, in the country, in the household, just in life. Realizing obviously that it's not a monolith, and that while we were created to believe that we are supposed to be one way and one thing, we have obviously come to learn that that is just not the case with anything in life. And we all are special and unique the way that we are. And figuring out how to minister and how to grow and how to be used in what you are supposed to be used in. Okay. All that to say that. So, when I hear things, and I've noticed this and I've learned this just from working with students and, having friends and being in relationships, and even in my relationship that I'm in now, people come to me for a certain take. Right? They want to hear my opinion about certain things. They know what I'm given. Okay. And I think that's so cool, right? Like, I think that, there's certain people I know that, like, if I say something or I do something, they're going to come a type of way. And I don't like to think of it so negatively, right? Because that's kind of how it's been. I've always been like, oh, I don't want to say this, and I want to do this for this person in front of this person. It's going to be a very negative reaction. But there is things that we know, like, that will be positive and that will be warm and endearing, or, like my kids know, my students know. She don't play about disrespect. She don't play about, the inequities or inequalities or anything like that. So they know when it comes down to that, it's about to be on and popping. Okay. It's about to be on and popping. So, when these stories happen in the news or in the blogs, like, there is a way that I'm going to feel about them. There is things that I'm going to say. And I just thank God that in this last year, 2 years, I've understood the power in that. Ooh, I'm trying not to get emotional. I've understood the power in that. I've understood that my voice matters. And I've understood that people care about what I have to say. Like, and that's really cool, right? So, Sherri Shepherd, y'all. Sherri Shepherd has a talk show, and a couple weeks ago, she felt the need to sit with her legs crossed and hands clasped, okay, to talk to Meg Thee Stallion about her outfit that she wore to, I don't know, the Emmys, the Oscars, one of them top awards, right? And, usually I don't really care about what people have to say about what somebody has to wear, because to be honest, outfits, hairstyles, colors in your hair, colors on your nails, makeup, a lot of these things are subjective and they are about preference. So what you like, someone else may not like, and blah, blah, blah. And people of a certain generation feel like the newer generations don't cover up enough. I mean, even from my generation to the Gen Z generation, I'm like, do y'all have any clothes that are not crop? Do y'all have any clothes that are not crop? Okay. That's me and my way of thinking, because I know for me, I couldn't have a crop nothing. Okay. But you learn and you grow, and there's fads and fashion things that come back around. So Sherri Shepherd's opinion didn't too much bother me. I was just like, until she came out this week, and she, Jonathan Majors, I think he has a movie that he's promoting, and he was on her show, and he was very much, big upping his relationship, you guys know, with Megan Good. And I think he announced that they were married or whatever. And he was smiling. Okay. And you guys know Jonathan Majors has had his own drama, which I think I talked about on this podcast, with the relationship he was in with, the previous relationship he was in, and how that caught him a case because they were in like a DA, a domestic abuse relationship. And, she was hitting, he was hitting, and there was a lot of allegations. It was very alleged, but some things had come out to let us know, yeah, well, although some things were alleged, some things were still very true. Like you, boo, putting hands. We saw her chasing him through the streets. It was a whole thing. But where it crossed over into our business is Megan Good then got on his arm all while he's going through the court cases. And I don't know how old Megan Good is, but I don't think they're of the same generation. But, we don't know behind the scenes what circles they already occupied together, if they already knew each other, blah, blah, blah. She said that she was she was there in a friend capacity. They quickly escalated into, friends, and then dating. And then anyway, fast forward, now they are married. Or that's what they say, honey. And Sherri Shepherd says that he is, the perfect example of what a black man should be. Don't quote me, but it was something in that regard. I'm telling you, I didn't see it, but I heard about it. And of course, when you say things like that, when you take the time to sit and position yourself in center of the camera and deliver a message to Meg Thee Stallion, but not to Megan Good, and then you're praising Jonathan Majors. Well, you guys know it speaks to the overall pick-me bottom line of the things, okay? I'm going to hold your hand when I say this, but a lot of our values, a lot of the things that we know to be true, and a lot of the things that we treasure about being a woman have been interwoven in the fabrics of the pick-me-ness, okay? You're going to have a husband, you need a man, you need to get a man, you need to have kids, you need to have a house, you need to raise the kids. How you raise the kids is a certain type of way. You got to do it that way. You got to be up in the church, and you got to, sit on a certain pew, and you got to have the politics within the church, and then you have to do all these things as a woman, Okay, not too many tattoos, and be of a certain size, and don't have a certain hair color, and don't talk a certain way. And when those mixed with, the workforce, when women went into the workforce, well, then we added those respectability politics into the workforce, how we dressed and our hair, and natural hair was unprofessional. And although we think that, only people who aren't Black have these opinions, a lot of us have adapted to or adopted those feelings because we understand how to play the game to fit in the workplace. We know what we need to do. We know our hair needs to be straight. We know we don't need to have distracting nail colors or, talk in this AAVE or in Ebonics or anything like that. You have to speak in professional language. So we code switch, and we do all these things to fit into the mold of who we are supposed to be, right? But at the very end of the day, it is for the gratification of a man. And I know that maybe we don't look at it that way, because a lot of us have come to believe and come to understand, hey, well, I like this. I don't have a problem with this. I mean, I'm one who I like a clean look. I understand how to be presentable. I don't want to look unkempt, because although I know these things to be true, it is the way you play the game. It is how you keep a job. It is how you forward yourself in any career. It's just the truth. It's just the truth, okay? And I don't want to say that I would rather be able to speak in Ebonics at work or not have to code switch or whatever. Code switching is a skill that everyone needs to learn, okay? Everyone needs to learn. Everyone needs to learn there's a time and a place. All of these things, right? So I don't think that Sherri Shepherd was necessarily wrong, but I just think it's interesting what she chooses to speak out on, because Megan Thee Stallion ain't bothering nobody. And I think that's always the thing for me. She ain't bothering nobody. So when you think about how your message or your content contributes to the big picture and the greater good, you have to think about how it comes off, right? Although Black people are not a monolith, we have a very strong influence in social media. I mean, you can see it like when 6 people send you the same video that you just saw when you scrolled. That means our feed and the things that we see is very small. I think about wedding fans, that everybody's learning the dance. Everybody got their fan. Everybody's in rodeo gear. And who kicked it off? Houston been having a rodeo forever. Black cowboys have been around forever. But I mean, you guys don't like it. I hope I don't sound ridiculous. But when Beyonce had Cowboy Carter, and she fully leaned into just her lineage and the things that make her and her family, and that happened to be rodeo and that happened to be cowboy. Well, now where them fans at? And now that's reached everywhere. But I know for me specifically, I was never rocking with no country music like that. And now that my girl is, I'm like, hey, what a boots at? Now I'm not all the way there, but I mean, y'all know what I'm saying. Y'all know what I'm saying. She's on tour. She's about to go on tour. And me and Bay are figuring out how we can get tickets, because Beyonce is my girl. And I think that the thing is she shows versatility. She shows access, and she shows, I want to do it, so I'm going to do it. She shows that we're versatile. We're not just one thing. Okay. But anyway, so I think I'm just trying to figure out with Sherri Shepherd. You didn't speak up when Meg Thee Stallion had her documentary, not that I can think of, or to been a strong advocate of, the domestic abuse of it all. And actually, for her to speak on Jonathan Majors, of him being the esteemed example, knowing his past and knowing all his things. And I understand, forgiveness and wanting to move past, but I'm just saying, when you have a platform, you have a certain responsibility. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later too. I think that if she would have made a point, and obviously it's a talk show, so you can't say everything, but she made it a point to speak on Megan Thee Stallion's look and how she was, naked. And a lot of girls were at that specific red carpet, but she wanted to speak on how she was naked and she was revealing too much, and let's leave some stuff to the imagination. And, then we dovetail into Phylicia Rashad or Miss Claire Huxtable. Okay. all just do, all respect to her. Y'all know I'm a Huxtable by heart, in heart. But then she was on the Breakfast Club talking about, leave some stuff to the imagination. And, pop culture is just, has popularized right now just being naked, and our men don't want us out there like that. So that was another thing about what the men want. And I think I commented in the shade room on that post of saying, like, what about what women want? Like, I understand that at the end of the day, it is about getting a husband to them, right? And your husband don't want you out there like that. But what about just what you want for you? I think it's just the phrasing for me, right? If Sherri Shepherd said, girl, Megan Thee Stallion was out there body tea, killing it, could never be me. I'm of a certain generation where, we grew up and we were told not to be out there like that, right? And Megan Thee Stallion, like, I do want to see you, like, girl, what can you give covered up? Okay, because we know the body's tea. Dang, girl, you just squatting on all of us, right? She could have made it funny. She could have still, put her auntie-isms in it and just let her know where she was coming from, because we already know, right? But I think it's just like, what's bothering you about it? Do y'all think, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I'm 35. And I think when I see a 23-year-old, 21-year-old, 25-year-old wearing an outfit that's revealing, in my mind, I'm like, okay, girl, good for you. I don't automatically think like, oh, she ain't gonna get no man. Oh, she looked at as a certain type of way. I think I'm just so envious of the freedom of expression. I'm like, wow, you really out here and you really understand. You got the secret to life, because you understand how to best express yourself when you want to express yourself. If this person was like, oh, they only dress like this, they always dress like this, yeah, I would be concerned. Like, do you not know nothing else? Do you have to just show yourself? But I think that you have to remember the age and the generation. That is how they dress. Lord Jesus. So there's that conversation. Okay. I don't think that, like I said, I'm not saying Sherri Shepherd was wrong. Phylicia Rashad was wrong. I just think they need to understand the times. And then maybe need to go back to in their times and understand the things that were said and told to them and what exactly stopped them from dressing in that way. Was it truly that you didn't want to dress that way as a form of expression? Or were there rules and laws and things around, or things that you were raised on, that told you, hey, we don't dress like that, we don't act like that? And has there ever been a deconstruction of some of those things? Because, we were told not to wear certain things around men or whatever, and they were your family. There are people that's not supposed to look at you in that way. So I think if we were honest, there are some things with that line of thinking that need to be deconstructed. And yeah. So big upping Jonathan Majors, understanding all the things that he comes with, but then taking a minute to talk to Megan Thee Stallion about her outfit when literally everyone in her age group, or most in her age group, or how she makes a living or whatever, are dressed the same, is a problem. But I want to know what you think about that specifically. Okay. All right. So one of the biggest stories this week was JessHilarious. Okay. And she was in all the news, honey, and we talked about a lot of different things. So you guys know I have a degree in communication. For my bachelor's, I majored in like general communication, which is like rhetoric, and like, like my last ending project, my 20-page paper to graduate, was communication in the military workplace, right? And all the different things. And then I also minored in sociology. Okay. And then I went on to get my master's in professional communication and digital media, right? With the emphasis in digital media. So I am really passionate about like the things like, the Disabilities Act and like discrimination in the workplace, and, how women are looked at in the workplace, how Black women are looked at in the workplace, and policies and politics and systems and the playing the game and like the boys club and like all of these terms and all of these things, right, that really rock out in the corporate world. So when this topic came up, I was like, ooh, let's scoot our feelings aside about a lot of these things and let's get down to the nitty gritty, okay? Because I'm not the biggest JessHilarious fan, but I am a big fan of being a content creator on your platform, being consistent in that, and then getting an opportunity on the big screen, okay? That's really cool to me. I'm really passionate about that. Love that, okay? So what happened was, JessHilarious has a job on The Breakfast Club. She is the third host. You guys know that Angela Yee was the third host for the longest. She ended up leaving and moving on to a different venture. They went through this whole year of like vetting different people to fill that seat, different women. And I believe this is when the show lost its steam, because they at least lost its steam for me, because Angela Yee kind of used to be like the buffer a little bit. There were times where she didn't quite pull up, right? But she used to be the buffer for a lot of these topics that would be like Charlamagne would bring like this ignorance. And I used to really love Charlamagne because I thought like maybe he just, he lacks a little couth and he's a little rough around the edges, but he means well and he just says what we're all thinking. Well, over time, between him and DJ Envy, just like they're not prepared, they're not studied on the interviews, they're saying things that are sexist, transphobic, homophobic, they're making light of things. It was just like, oh girl, yeah, like there's way more content out there that I can consume that is not going to bring my IQ down. And still love them, love what they do. There's a space for that, but it was no longer for me. Okay. Well, fast forward, JessHilarious gets the job. She shared that she was getting the job prematurely. She had like a whole party, and there was talk about that, about how you're not supposed to just be saying anything too soon. And allegedly, iHeart was not happy about it, because it's like you're announcing, you kind of took the steam out of us announcing, right? Well, not too long after she had the job, she ended up getting pregnant and going on maternity leave. I work in a career field where it seems like people are pregnant. It seems like they're pregnant like twice a year, like the same person sometimes, right? Like people have to go build their families. This is how, the world works. But it just always amazes me because when someone gets pregnant, it means a lot at the job, okay? They are gone. Well, they go through a change, right? They're pregnant, and then they have like appointments that they have to be gone for. And then as they get closer to giving birth, the appointments pick up on how much they're going to be gone. And depending on their impact and how much they do on the job, it could really be like, man, like this person is not here and we really need them here, right? Or, maybe we're able to get like a substitute or somebody to come in, and it's low impact. It's not, their absence isn't really contributing to the big picture in such a major way, right? And then they go on maternity leave and they're gone for some for like 3-4 months, okay? And it's not like they're on vacation. Okay, let's make that very clear. They're gone and they're raising a child. Their body has changed and they're trying to get them on a sleep schedule, and they're doing all these things. They're doing all these things. And then when they come back, now they need to pump. They potentially need to pump, and they need time for that. And you have to provide a space and, all these things to accommodate a person who literally is just living. Okay. These are natural things that women should have already had, but have just now started to get in the last 10, 15 years. Okay. So all that to be said, if you think about all that just from a woman's standpoint, a mother's standpoint, and even from a father's standpoint, because the father even goes on paternity leave, think about how much changes on your job in that span of months. Okay. So JessHilarious, she goes on maternity leave, and it's pretty soon after she gets the job. So now we're kind of back in the space of there's no one here. And from my understanding, she tried to like hold on a little bit and do the job from home, or she was on Zoom a couple times, but she chose someone to sit in for her. Her name was Lauren. She came from TMZ, and apparently Lauren did a great job. Now, this week, she kind of quote unquote crashed out. JessHilarious. She went on her story and she kind of spilled all the beans about what's been happening on the show and how things are unfair and how they're seemingly trying to like push her out, ice her out, right? And they kind of have moved Lauren in the spot. Lauren was doing Jess with the Mess. And you know, Jess with the Mess is JessHilarious's own segment that she was doing before The Breakfast Club. So that's already weird. Okay. The argument became this week. If you guys want her, if you wanted Lauren, and she is, you know, obviously talented. When I came back from maternity leave, we should have had a conversation to better understand, are you guys letting me go? Are we just going to add a fourth person? But I need my segment back because I went on maternity leave. I didn't quit. I didn't give up my stuff, blah, blah, blah. And let's give her something else. Jess shares that that was not done. Producers were like, hey, basically the viewers like her better. She does it better. She's able to read. And so because of that, she's going to keep doing this. I guess she was over talking her on air. I don't know. JessHilarious is not everyone's favorite. Okay, she's pretty much sometimes a female Charlamagne, and as we know, in the world of the things, it is frowned upon when women are too crass. Women don't have enough couth. Women have to follow the respectability politics of the things, okay? And if you're gonna be this type of person who calls out the things and doesn't tote the line of respectability and class and all these things, well, you better be able to do it in a way that people like you for, okay? Don't piss off the people. And I think JessHilarious, she has a following, so obviously people like her for it, okay? All that to be said, she went off this week, okay? And it seemed like it just kept escalating because after she went off on her live, well, now the Breakfast Club is like, hey, let's talk about the things on the air. Okay, let's get Lauren in here. Let's get DJ Envy. Let's get Charlamagne. It was a lot of gaslighting going on. It was a lot of, well, you said this happened, but we gave you this. You said apples were happening, but we gave you oranges. Why aren't you happy with oranges? Well, I'm allergic to oranges. Okay. The bottom line is this. And the overarching theme and lesson is this. If we were working for Aflac, okay, and I went on maternity leave and I had my benefits and I had all my things, when I come back from maternity leave, according to the Pregnancy Act, what is it, PDA? According to the pregnancy, let me get it right. The Pregnancy Discrimination Act, which is a federal law that prohibits public, private, or government contractor employers within 15 or more employees from discriminating against an employee or applicant on the basis of pregnancy. According to that, my job should be safe. Now, maybe if it's a high impact job, maybe there's certain clauses in here that can have you make a couple changes. But for the most part, all of that is included under here. Shouldn't be no changes while I'm gone. Okay, now when I come back, maybe you've had a new realization. Maybe we can have some talks, make me come out of this clean. Okay. But at the very least, and at the very, my job should be safe. So regardless of how we feel about you as an employee, regardless of what the viewers are saying or the numbers are doing, my job in my segment should be safe. And it was not. It was not. Or it was, kinda, and that was the gaslighting part. Well, you still have your segment. You can still do it, right? But we're pushing forward. We're laughing at, and all of that was a part of the game that they play in these jobs. Okay. And then when the respectability politics come in, when you say, well, she shouldn't have got pregnant right when she got the job, because then it looks like you don't want the job for real. Now you're gone. So a woman can't raise a family. She can't further her family and grow her family. You know why? Because we're still stuck on respectability politics, and that is still very much a real thing. Although we don't like it, although it doesn't look good, although it's unfair, and although it's unjust, it's still real tea. Okay? No, it does not look good for a woman to get a new job with men or whatever, get pregnant, and now be on maternity leave, and now you're gone and think that your spot is going to be safe. It's a competitive world. You have to play the game. They're going to do what they're going to do, right? Because the world is just not that evolved yet. I hate to say it. I hope I don't sound ridiculous, but the world is just not that evolved yet. I hate it. It's not right. So yeah, let's stand up, let's have some dialogue, and let's make some change, and let's call a thing a thing. Don't gaslight me and act like you're not contributing to this overall thing. And some of the comments were disgusting, because they were like, it lets you know we're not that far as a society. People, at the end of the day, want women to still follow respectability politics. Okay? I don't want you to rebel too much. I don't want you to be too vocal. I don't want you to be too crass. Don't do that. I still want you to do what I say that you should do for the overall gratification of me, the man. Okay? It just is what it is. It just is what it is. So until the work is done, and it just will never be done, because even with men, all men aren't like this. All men don't feel this way. And, some people are able to see the inequities within the job. Some people are able to see, oh yeah, I do see how they treat women a little bit different, or they do have all these expectations of men to be strong and not express their feelings or whatever, right? Or I do see how, the lighter skin, or I see the colorism. The lighter skin are pushed up, the dark skin are pushed back. I do see how the natural hair are this, or the curly hair are this. There's one perception of this wild and unkept versus the straight hair, and the more kept and the more clean and the more professional. I do see all those things. Okay. And we want to fight, and we want to do the things that we can do so that we can bring about equity. Okay. Not completely rid of respectability politics, but understand that there's balance in everything. So I do hope that Lauren and Jess can kind of get this together. What would really kill them is if they went and had their own show, or if they, met offline, went to brunch together, and was like, girl, you see what they're trying to do. They're trying to pit us against each other. Let's kill this narrative. Let's decide to come together. Let's drum up a contract between us. Okay. How either we're going to do what it takes to further these ratings. We're going to get in here. We're going to play the game to further my bag and your bag. And let's do what needs to be done. But maybe let's play the game for them. Let's give them what they want. Right? But somebody's got to come out and be the fourth wall and be like, girl, I can't. So I do wish the best for them. And I hope that overall women win here, and they're able to overcome whatever game they trying to play. Okay. That leads me to my last story. Teyana Taylor. She's the gift that keeps on giving. I love Teyana Taylor. Producer, director, actor, actress, singer, dancer, model, mother, daughter, all of the things. Yes, niece, yes, girl. Auntie is doing the things. Okay. If you guys can remember last year, I feel like around this time or last summer, it came out that Teyana Taylor and Iman were getting a divorce. And in the divorce proceedings, or in the settlement, or in the trial, or whatever you want to call it, it was getting a little messy, because Iman wanted certain things and she wanted certain things, but they were able to kind of cut it down to 7 figures. It was something about 7 figures, and it was something about cars being split, businesses being split, all of the things. And I'm sure they worked through, child support and custody and being able to see the two daughters and all the things. And for the most part, we thought they were good. But I guess it had been coming out here recently that Iman was not doing the things. And people were saying that Teyana Taylor was money hungry or after his money, or she was trying to send him to jail. And, you know, ain't nothing like a good man loving his woman who's strong in his day. another pick me song. Anyway, Lord Jesus. No, ain't nothing like saving face for a situation and doing all you can in the background to cape, what we talked about last week, to cape and cover up and conceal and salvage someone's image just for them to come out and be unappreciative and talk stuff about something as if you weren't and aren't who you are. Teyana Taylor, I don't know how you did it, but I thank God that you came out and said a little bit. And even still, you still toted this line of being respectful, being professional, being gracious, being loving, because this is your child's father and was once your husband. So you still not going to lay it down in the way that you could lay it down. And something has to be said about people like this. Okay? I'm going to put a pause. Because if you were watching Fact Talk this week, you saw how Maddie and Craig sat there, and, you know, there was a whole situation about Craig Tamar having this issue with Craig because Craig was saying, hey, Tamar needs friends who let her know when she's wrong. She has too many yes people around her. She is more known for her antics than she is for her music. And they had a live show and Tamar was there. She proceeded to kind of call Craig out and call him girl and call him the B word and said, you got your titties out and all of this. And Craig was letting her know, like, hey, I don't play like that. That's not my game. I don't play like that. Okay. And she kind of ignored it. And Maddie kind of, you know, let them kind of get their stuff off, but was like, I'm trying to let my two sisters talk it out. So she contributed to this whole feminizing of Craig, which Craig was kind of, his whole point was, we're not friends. We not like that. So you can't do that with me. And it kind of spoke to, you know, should any of us be doing it on a stage in front of others because everyone becomes comfortable doing it. But, you know, whatever. Maddie and Craig then went on to do their weekly live show where Craig was just like trying to clear the air once and for all. And Maddie went on and on and on about how things affected her and what it meant for her. And we have to acknowledge that I'm sure she has a dog in this fight. Okay. And I'm sure that she is dog in this fight okay to say? I'm looking at my dogs like, I don't know if that's okay to say, but we have to acknowledge that Maddie has feelings, right? And she has a way that she feels about her friends feuding, and that I'm sure she was in the headlines and all the things, right? But sometimes we do have to take a step back to be like, okay, what does this mean for my friend and my friendships? And how did they feel? Right? How did Tamar feel in this? How did Craig feel in all of this? And what allegiance do I have to this show that I share with Craig? And how he feels, and how did it make him feel to go through this? And let me hear kind of what he's saying. I don't feel that was done. Not fully, right? But it was a treat to watch Craig and how he handled himself. Oftentimes I battle with whether I should come out of a bag or whether I should still remain professional and have tact and be clear and not have emotion, because that speaks to the respectability politics that were embedded in me. I don't know if my parents and my grandparents really taught that specifically, but I know it was in the Cosby Show when I watched Claire Huxtable. I know it was prevalent in when I, well, shoot, like maybe it's how I watched Beyonce. I mean, Beyonce does not answer none of these things right? Instead, she puts it in her work. I learned somewhere that it's important to be tactful. It's important to be clear. It's important to be professional. It's important to, be void of emotion when you're trying to get your point across, because that's how you're really going to be heard. And that there's no use in digging at someone, undermining their character, reading someone down to the floor so much that you have to strip them of, be mean and be nasty. I've learned that it's just no point. There's no point. So a lot of times it has looked like I've lost in something because I have chosen not to get down in the dirt with you. Maybe it was Michelle Obama. When we go low, we go high. When they go low, we go high, right? But somewhere along the line, I've learned that is respectability politics, right? And that is something that I'm choosing to hold on to in that regard. Others have felt like, you know what? If you getting down and dirty with me, I'm finna get dirtier. Some people say you when they go low, I go to hell. Right? They have said that. Okay. They have said that. And that's their prerogative. Sometimes I want to adapt some of that because I'm like, man, this person really said mean things about me. This person was really mean. And it's not cool because I wasn't. And I didn't deserve that. Right? So in this case, watching Teyana Taylor, who I don't think is like this. I think it's okay. You barking? I don't think she's like this fully. I think Teyana Taylor will read and get down with the best of them. But I do think that she was protecting the overall image of her family. Okay. When going through this divorce. She used their initials on the divorce paperwork. And, I identify with this because I too went through a divorce. Okay. And no, you don't want to air this person out because at the end of the day, we're in a relationship. Okay. And things did not go the way they were planned, or maybe they did go the way it was planned. Right. I learned what I learned. They learned what they learned. We realized this is where we get off. Okay. We've gone through the things, we've learned each other. We loved each other. And this is just where we get off. Okay. And unfortunately, this is not a glorified thing. This is something that society's like, you messed up. You made a mistake if you had to get a divorce, right? But there's erasers on pencils for a reason. Somebody invented whiteout. And regardless of that, there's a backspace button, there's a delete button. And even if you don't go back and delete the things, you can press enter and move on to a new space. Okay? Because at the end of the day, even though I don't have to erase my story, everything contributes to my story. Okay? But we're going to always turn a page. Okay? So I think the thing here for Teyana Taylor is you spare a person. It's okay. You spare a person embarrassment. You spare a person all these things because in the grand scheme of things, all of the antics don't matter. At the end of the day, I want to make sure that this is done right for the betterment of my children, for the betterment of my pocket. And I remember when I decided, I said, you know what? This is no longer what you want. I'm not able to do. Okay. I've seen that. I'm not able to do it. I'm not going to be able to ride this train out with you. Okay. We've tried and we've tried to force it and make it happen for you and for me. But somewhere you've sacrificed and you've built some resentment. Okay. And somewhere I have sacrificed and I've built resentment. And it's no longer enjoyable. And I'm not saying that when things get hard, that it's going to be or fun, but it still gets enjoyable when things are hard. It's like when you're doing a puzzle, right? And it gets hard and you feel so much better when you've overcome it, right? I'm not saying that relationships have to be fun all the time, but each venture and each thing should still be enjoyable because the commitment that you've made to each other, you're committed to seeing it through. Okay. But somewhere you decide, hey, actually, no. Okay. And so I remember having that conversation. I remember thinking that, feeling that, and being like, yeah, enough is enough. And being like, so to save face and to let you just go on about your way, I'm going to take all this on and I'm going to let you do your thing. Okay. And no, because I'm able to see that this letting you have all this would actually further hold you back. What did Tina Turner say? I just want my name. I just want my name. I just want my name. So I said, okay, I'm going to take all this. I'm going to take all this off you. Okay. And I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to figure out how to get through this and this and this and this and this and this and this. But I'm going to still save face. I'm not going to put you out there. I'm not going to drag you. Ain't no need. Ain't no need, because it just didn't work. Right? And that was cool. But I remember when the ridicule started coming and all the things started coming. And it was like I gave up on something. And it was like, were we both around for the same thing? I salvaged what I could of myself, went on to find myself, gathered my things, and went to work on how to build back up. Because it's still, nobody talks about the heartbreak, right? Nobody talks about, man, this didn't work. Or it was no longer working. And that's sad. So now I have to mourn this. And so for Teyana Taylor, that man helped deliver their first child while she was sitting on the toilet. That's a different connection. They have 2 children. They have businesses and cars and, memories and things that they've built. Their families have been intertwined. That takes some time, regardless of the celebrity of it all. So I'm just trying to figure out what you guys think a divorce should look like. Regardless of the money, regardless of the businesses, regardless of, how you act towards that person. What do you think a person goes through when it's not working anymore? What do you think a person goes through as a woman when you're going through a divorce? How you talk to your kids, how you talk to society, when it comes to your name, when it comes to the things, how the matriarchs in your family talk, how the patriarchs in your family talk, how people around you talk, how you see and view yourself, how you move forward, how you reinvent yourself. What do you think all that is? You don't think about it. You don't. But I do want to know what you do think about this week's episode, okay? We talked about a lot of things today. We talked about a lot of things. And I honestly think we got somewhere. I do. I think that we got somewhere. Lord, here's hoping. Here's hoping. So my last segment, guys, is who are you listening to? So this week, if I was to go back in my Spotify and see what I was listening to, I actually was playing a lot of Glorilla radio, Megan Thee Stallion radio. I did not go to the gym this week. This week at work was gruesome. Okay. I just was so tired coming back from spring break. So I was listening to a lot of Glorilla, Megan Thee Stallion, a little bit of Lotto in there, which I kind of listen to them all the time. A little bit of Doechii, a little bit of Kendrick. I love a good bounce mix. I do enjoy some bounce music. So I was listening to that, playing that. Every now and again, I'll get in my West Coast bag and want to hear some West Coast music. So yeah, that's what I listened to this week. I want to kind of, I guess, turn the Megan Thee Stallion radio off and Glorilla radio off and see what else is out there, because I kind of play the same music. Spotify been playing the same music over and over again. Hopefully I go back to the gym next week, but we'll see, honey. We'll see. I don't know. But I want to know what you guys were listening to this week. I also like to go on YouTube, and I think I listened to Duran, like the Club One Bedroom. But I like to go on there and pull up DJs and play their mixes and jam out to that. So yeah, I want to know your thoughts on this week's episode. Follow me on TikTok so we can have a dialogue and engage in all the things throughout this week or throughout the week on different things that come out. We talked about a lot today, so make sure you leave your comments and make sure you share with a friend. I'm Kemaray, and this is #JTFIO, or just trying to figure it out. We drop episodes every Sunday. I'll see you guys next week. I'm about to go see Kev on stage tonight with my bae. Okay, we about to go have a good time. All right. I'll see you guys next week.